Welcome back, Global War 1939. We are moving on to round seven. So let's take a look at some of the action. For the Germans, they did make their secondary assault into Moscow. They had a bunch of scattered equipment in this area of the map. Basically, anything that can move two spaces that can end up in Moscow went into that battle. And as you can tell, they survived with a much larger force than their initial assault. So they end up with five medium tanks, two Mark IVs, two SS mechs, two regular mechs, and three artillery. Leningrad also fell. They didn't go in as much of a force, but they did survive that with three Mark IVs, basically leaving the Russians down to almost nothing at all. The Russians have two infantry in Stalingrad. They do have an elite infantry and one more conscript up north, and they have one paratrooper out by the Japanese. So Russia is pretty much in disarray. I would imagine with this force here, will Stalingrad will definitely fall, and they'll pick up a couple of these bordering territories. So for the most part, this war is over. The victory is for the Germans, which is great because there is three victory cities that the Germans do need to hold. Bringing their count, once Stalingrad's gone, then the Germans themselves have six victory cities. So we're getting down to the crunch. Just a couple more left to get. However, the story of the turn was the landings by the UK and the Americans into Normandy, France. So that territory is now under their control. Do the Germans have enough firepower to counter attack it? Right now, what is sitting in that territory is quite a bit of material. There's a British mech, three medium tanks, three light tanks, two medium tanks. Five or six Marines, about 11 regular infantry, three heavy artillery, and five normal artillery. And the British American fleet has amalgamated into Sea Zone 28, pretty much with their combined fleet here, pretty much preventing the Germans from making an attack against it. And what's on that British card is right now they have a battleship, two coastal battleships, four cruisers, two subs, and nine destroyers to go along with pretty much mostly transports. But the Americans do have three destroyers and two subs of their own. And that will be followed up by a few more warships. The Americans did purchase two more cruisers, two more destroyers to go along with this. It's probably not going to change the fate. The British are the ones holding the water. They have most of the warships. The Americans just bring these in just for some added support for defense if the Germans do decide to attack. But right now, the British and the Americans in the Atlantic definitely do have the upper hand against the German Navy. And the British and American Navy are stronger on defense. So we'll have to see if that engagement takes place. Yeah, so the Germans have victory in the east, a little bit of setback in the west. They might be able to make a counterattack, or they'll have to spend a turn regrouping, building up a force. But that's not good. That also allows the British to reinforce that territory as well. So it's definitely going to be a hard fought battle. We'll see how it all plays out. For the Italians down in Africa, they did go ahead and make another attack into Gibraltar. So this territory has changed hands quite a few times now. But I think the Italians have won it out. The British really doesn't have anything else unless they start bringing material down from Britain. But that would take away from material needed in France to recapture Gibraltar. So we'll see. But Gibraltar is a big deal. It is $1 for the British, prevents the Italians from entering the Atlantic, helping out the Germans. But for the Italians, it's worth $4 because of the NO bonus, provided that you have Marseille and Greece already. And it does allow or prevent the British fleet from entering the Mediterranean, which is another NO bonus for the Italians. So both sides do want that territory. It is a pretty big deal. But for right now, the Italians do have the upper hand. And down here, it was just another purchase of more heavier equipment. They got another medium tank, heavy artillery, scatter few infantry, and they bulked up their Alexandria force yet again. So what that consists of, right now we have 12 regular infantry, 2 medium tanks, 5 regular artillery, a heavy artillery, a paratrooper, 2 elite infantry, 2 cavalry, and a mechanized. To go against Cairo, which the British, I would have to give the tip to them, especially on defense. They have 24 infantry, a mechanized heavy artillery, 2 normal artillery, 2 swordfish, a fort for their infantry, and 3 medium tanks. So I would definitely give the edge to them. The Italians are going to have to figure something out, get a lot more material to engage that battle. The only problem is the longer they wait, the stronger the British here get. Just because of that factory. Now, I do apologize about the background noise. I have 5 of my own kids, plus they have 3 of their cousins here. Asking 8 kids to be quiet for half an hour is probably not going to happen. So we'll just have to power through it and ignore any background noise. So that's pretty much Europe and the Atlantic. Out in Asia, as you can tell, things have gone quite well for the Japanese. India is pretty much all subdued now. China's completely captured. They even snuck up and got Novosibirsk, so Russia has no capital right now. They just have five infantry-based units. So Japan on the land is doing quite well. Right now they are prepping up for their invasion into the Philippines. So we'll see how all that plays out in the near future. They're probably 2 turns away from actually engaging. They have enough transports on the map. So they got one down here in C-Zone 86, another one in 91. They got another one in 117, transport up in 134, and another 6 at home in 124. So they have enough transports to get enough material here. They're just out of position because they were taking care of other tasks. But they'll spend a turn amalgamating up, building up a force at home, and then the following turn, that's when they're going to plan their attack. For material on the mainland, they're actually have a lot more material than what they need. Some will probably head towards the coast so they can jump on transport so they don't have to acquire new units. But for right now, the Japanese only real battles that they have to come up with now, take this territory, this one, they're vacant. They have 2 infantry to deal with here. They have 1 paratroop infantry up here. The other 2 territories are vacant. And then they have an Anzac force here on Java. Other than that, once they get rid of those, 5 units here, then their focus are definitely going to have to be on the Philippines. It is a victory city. The Japanese so far, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 themselves. Philippines, if they're able to take it, would be 6. That'll bring them up to 12. And Italy has 1 of their own. The British have done a very good job of blocking out the Italians from taking their secondary victory city. So that'll bring them up to 13 once Stalingrad, Philippines falls. Maybe Cairo, maybe. At this point is not looking very good unless they get an assist from the Germans, but that will be a minimum 1, 2, 4 turns away before any German units can actually reach there. So we will see how that all plays out. But a viable route would be Philippines and possibly Hawaii. Depends on how the fleet battle goes. The Japanese fleet is quite sizable, but so is the Americans. As of right now, I would give the edge capital ship wise to the Japanese. As they right now they have 4 Armados, 4 normal battleships, 4 aircraft carriers, and 2 escort carriers. But the Americans, they have 4 aircraft carriers of their own and 5 battleships. I would give the edge to the support vessels to the Americans so they can start, absorb more hits once that big naval engagement happens, or if it does. They could absorb more hits, protect their capital ships a lot easier than the Japanese can. So definitely a lot of decisions are going to have to be made in the near future for each nation on how to win the game. All right, so we're going to make this short. That's pretty much it for this turn. Thank you for watching, and have yourself a great day. Welcome back, Globe War 1939. We are moving on to round 8. We're going to combine both turns under one video, as this round there wasn't a lot going on. It's going to be pretty short. Instead of making two separate videos, put them all together. For the Germans, what we did exactly what we said we were going to do. We took out the small 2 infantry force up here with 3 Mark IVs, and we took out Stalingrad as well. So all 3 victory cities belonging to the Soviets are now under German control. Went further down in the Caucasus, and next up they will go after the Middle East. Now they could have went and broken up this. They could have had 1 medium armor here to break up their little bonus that the British are getting. However, they counterattacked by 2 infantry and a couple of planes. Would have seen that tank get destroyed. So why lose a unit for no reason? Wait a turn. Yes, the British will collect on a bonus $5, but it's only 1 extra turn of them collecting it, as the Germans this turn around will be assaulting with 3 medium tanks and blitzing through the Iran territory. The Japanese are opposed to take this territory, so there's no way the British can reconquer it with 4 infantry. They just amalgamate it together into Iraq to be kind of like a stopgap. But the Germans will essentially be bringing down whatever force is in here. Bunch of mechs, artillery, more medium tanks to go after Iraq. So I would highly suspect 2 turns away, and all this is under Axis control. For the mainland Europe, the German high command kind of flipped out once the British and the Americans landed in France. So most of the force anything that can move to from this region is ended up in northern Italy, as that is the quickest route instead of going through Germany. So they're 1 turn away from Paris. All the forces that they had in France collapsed into Paris. So right now what they have, plus their purchase, of course, they have a Tiger tank, a Mark V, medium tank, a light tank, couple of mechanized, 2 of which are SS mechs, artillery. They got a cavalry unit there, and 13 infantry. They got another 3 infantry here on the way, 7 more here, 10 more there, and some more support vessels, light tank, Mark IV, medium tank, a couple of SS mechs. What's in the northern Italy right now is this card here. So definitely a bit of firepower. 2 SS mechs, a mech, a Tiger tank, a couple Mark Vs, a couple Mark IVs, and a medium tank. Self-propelled artillery. So they definitely got enough material coming towards getting everything that they can into France as much as possible. So we'll see. They're probably 2 turns away from engaging the British, which is unfortunate because it allows time for the British and the Americans to reinforce. So we'll see how all that plays out in the future. For the Italians, they went ahead and attacked Gibraltar yet again. Yet again from the previous turn. They took out some material, leaving 6 infantry in reserve for defense. So that's probably right now it's firmly under Italian control. The British do have an option of going in there again, but with 6 infantry on defense, that is quite sizable, especially if the Italians get a fort. That could be a possibility. For the Italian purchase, they got 6 more infantry at home, and down in Africa, they planted another artillery, infantry, and elite. Right now in Alexandria is where the bulk of their force is. Quite a bit, a nice size army here. Is it enough to go after the British? The British in Cairo right now has about 26 infantry, mechanized, heavy artillery, fortification, which always gives bonuses for the defense, and then penalties for the attackers. So right now, these 2 armies are at a stalemate. One can't move out from the other. But if the Italians do come in, and even if they take out the 26 infantry, it'd be very hard pressed for them to replace it. It'd be quicker and faster for the Italians. So this might be an attack they have to do 2, possibly even 3 times, depending how quickly they can rebuild their army that gets defeated. And for the Japanese, they just moved further into India, moving a lot of their force back over to the coast, as there is a path now to attack the Philippines. They did purchase a few more transports, another battleship, aircraft carrier with fighters. They moved all their veteran fighters, their tactical bomber to this territory, so that's now in range of the Philippines to assist. And they have the bulk of their Navy, or pretty much all their Navy, C-Zone 93, kind of warding off any kind of American Navy getting any closer. The Americans were thinking about bringing their Navy to this C-Zone here, 107. However, that leaves then instead of the Japanese attacking the Philippines, then they can certainly just go this way, take out Hawaii, and then even possibly San Francisco. So that would not be a good idea. You do want to keep their Navy around here as kind of a shield. Same thing with the Japanese. They want to keep their main Navy here, kind of stalemating each other. You still want to be within range of a strike, but kind of stalemating each other. Like I said, if the American fleet moved here, then all this material, transports, all this infantry would have ended up, in this area of the map, and then eventually go after the Hawaiian Islands, forcing the American fleet from retreating anyways. So it would have been a little bit of a cat and mouse. The Japanese down in the Monte Islands do have some material down here. They have transports ready, so they could go after Java, recapture these 2 territories, or go after here. So they do have some options. More likely, probably Java, because it is worth more. It is worth $3, taking that away from the Anzacs, and then go after their original islands the turn after with whatever survives this battle. So that's the plan from them. The surprising story was this battle here. The Japanese went in with an infantry, a mech, and an artillery, and all 3 got killed by the lone Soviet airborne. So that's the last of the Soviet troops, 1 airborne, which, again, they'll probably be attacked yet again. So we'll see how all that plays out. For the Atlantic, the British didn't do anything. The Americans brought their transports back to the sea zone, ready to pick up more equipment at home. They're fully loaded, so they got 10 more transports. That's another 20 units getting ready to head towards France. The British pretty much offloaded anything they had on their home island. That's now all in France. So this card here is what's in France. Quite a stack of armor, artillery, and infantry. The only problem is at this point, when the Allies do want to attack, say they want to go after Paris, they do have to attack separately as opposed to being on defense. They defend separately. But if you don't go on attack, you'll never gain new territory. So we'll see how that plays out. They do have the largest air force on the planet, so we'll get those planes involved and help out liberating France. So we will see. And that's pretty much it for this turn. This turn was a lot of maneuvering, acquiring new equipment. The only real battles to note was the Stalingrad, the last of the Russian troops up here. That attack over with the Japanese that failed. That was really it. Those were only the real 3 battles. The Germans did a lot of maneuvering. The British reinforced France. The Americans brought some more troops over to the Philippines. Yes, these transports now are kind of going to be sacrificed, but they had 4 units here that they brought over to the Philippines to reinforce. So getting those 4 units to kind of block this Victory City away from the Japanese was probably a better idea, as the Americans do have quite a bit of cash. Yeah, so they're making approximately $112 a turn. So replacing 2 transports to protect a Victory City is not a big deal. Anzac, they acquired 3 new transports. Didn't get any new ground forces, but they had their transports here, and a lot of in the Money Islands, and a lot of them got killed. So they needed to replace those. Right now they got 4, which can do a lot of damage. And the Anzac fleet is nothing to laugh at. You know, lots of destroyers, cruisers. We got 1 sub, which the main Japanese Navy can certainly take that out and wouldn't even think about it, but it would put them way out of position against the Americans, and that is their bigger threat. So they're kind of ignoring this, but which gives this small fleet here 1 turn to do whatever. You know, so if they go after Java, then and this fleet moves away, then you can guarantee this fleet will come out and challenge this 4 destroyers, 2 transports. So we'll see. All right. So that is it for this turn. Like I said, it's just a remaneuvering turn. Not a lot of fighting going on. All right. Well, again, thank you for watching, and have yourself a great day.